I guess I'll explain this while we're waiting on Jeff to get here. So we have the two different meetings. The Microsoft meeting is for our executive session. So the board members, when we go into executive session, will sign out of this meeting and then sign into the Microsoft meeting. Once we're done in executive session, we will come back to this meeting.
I should be, I'm sharing my screen right now. You guys are seeing that, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, Sean, can you hear me? This is Richard Perry.
I can.
I just wanted to let you guys know that I've got a hard stop at 10 o'clock. So I don't know if we run long. I'm going to have to jump off.
Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Please forgive me.
No, not a problem. You know what? I'm gonna try and call Jeff, so I'm gonna go mute for a second.
Hey, how you doing? How's it going?
Ever sitting here, so I'm sorry I was private. Do you know who's running this meeting? I just need to know that, let them know that it's live.
Oh, I thought you were. I don't know. Oh, you mean who on?
On this call, who's
Jeff should be on in 1 minute.
John and everyone else, just want to let you know that this is streaming live on YouTube. And I'm assuming that you all will be heading back to the Zoom room after your sessions.
Yes.
Okay,
I
understood.
did not sign up to be a county TV star, so.
Hey, everybody, this is Khalil. I'm on.
Hi, Khalil.
Oh, hey, are we starting here and then going to the teams? Is that how it's working?
Yeah. So we're gonna go into Teams is the executive session. So you'll sign out of here, sign into Microsoft Teams, and then we'll come back to the Zoom after we're done in executive session.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Sean, it's Jeff. I must have had some confusion there. I didn't have a link.
Probably my fault, Jeff, but we got you on now. So we do have a quorum, and whenever you're ready, we're ready to go. And Jeff, just so you know, this is being streamed live.
Like to America or what?
Just
Live all over the
to
world.
the world, to whoever wants to listen.
Fantastic. Hey, let me take a quick roll call, right, Sean?
Absolutely, yes.
Khalil,
Here.
Matt.
Here.
Michelle Conrads.
You faded there, Jeff.
Michelle. Do I have a bad connection? Sean, can you hear me?
I can now. You're clear.
Okay, I didn't catch Michelle. Were you out there?
I see her on there. She's muted though.
Okay. Susan. I see you. Radhika.
Yes.
Hi, Radhika. Glad you're here at this meeting. Michael.
Here.
Michael, Anthony, Tony.
Yep. Morning, Jeff. I'm here.
Tony and Brian. I know you're here. We're just chatting.
Good morning, Jeff. It's Michelle. Sorry I was on mute.
Oh, hey, no worries. How How about Susan? You out there, Susan? And Michael Chambers?
Here.
All right, we're ready to roll.
This is Richard Perry's here. I didn't hear my name.
I saw you. I can see you, so I didn't call you off.
Oh, okay.
Corey Leon from NDC is here.
Okay.
Jeff, Suzanne Hamilton is here as a guest.
Hello, Suzanne Hamilton.
Where's your face?
Where is it? Hang on. I'll get it out there.
And Jeff, just for quality purposes, your voice is fading in and out. I don't know if you're in front of your mic and then fading away from it.
No, let's turn it over to who's going to run this, Michael or Bob?
Bob.
All right, Bob, why don't you take over and I'll try to figure out my connection.
Okay, hi, good morning. I thought it would be a good thing as we started off here. I had taken some pictures of the site a couple of years ago, and I just kind of wanted to share them with you as we take a look at the project. We toured the site some time ago, back in December of 2015, and these are just some neat pictures I took. I wanted to show you. This is the vault room that we got to see with all the security boxes in it. For you Marvel Comic Universe fans, there was a scene from Captain America: The Winter Soldier filmed in this room. When you're there and you see the movie, it's really interesting.
Hi. Can you let me in? Sure.
Yeah, I was locked out of my office.
I always
And so, yeah, just
No,
another.
if you're not speaking, if you could all please put us on mute, please. Thank you.
After you, Dan.
Okay, so yeah, just a couple of pictures of this vault room. It's really a neat place to visit. And I just took a few pictures. There's the vault door that we got to, someone explained how that worked at the time. I couldn't tell you myself. Couple of window shots of the views you see downtown. Again, this is back in December of 2015. So, a lot of these buildings look nicer now. You can see Lakefront Airport there. Just another window view. The windows were dirty, so it's hard to get a good shot. Also, I just wanted to point, this is like, one of my favorite rooms in Cleveland. I think all of you could probably tell stories of, I used to bank with Huntington, and I would come into this room, and it was just a really exciting place to be. And here's another view of that. Being in the building and taking a tour through the building. I took these few shots, but really the rest of the building, it's kind of it was sad to see such an enormous space going vacant. I just wanted to kind of mention that. And the good thing is today, here's a group photo of development staff in 2015. So, is that someone's echoing? Let me see. So yeah, that's our development photo staff, or staff photo. And the good news is today we have a very experienced developer that would like to undertake an enormous redevelopment project that will bring the building back to life and create something that will be a very valuable community asset for years to come. Before I go further, I'd like to introduce our guests from Millennia Housing. We've been working with Tom Mignona. He's the senior tax credit developer for Millennia Housing. And Tom, I know you brought some colleagues with you today. Did you want to introduce them and yourself?
Sure, Bob. Good morning, everyone. I know some of you, we've worked in the past, maybe in different capacities over the last 15, 20 years. Some of you are new. I have with me Nathan Ware who is our tax credit and structuring legal counsel from Baker Hostetler. Paul Naden might be joining us. He is a tax credit structuring accountant. He's currently with Reuben Brown. And then I have Jim Wells available. He is our senior underwriter for Millennia. Jim's done probably over 200 tax credit underwrites and project closings over the last 12 years. Altogether, Millennia is really excited at this opportunity. We appreciate you all hosting us and hearing us today. And hopefully you agree with us that we have the right project for this very important building.
Thanks, Tom. And I'm just going to get kind of started and give you some highlights. As you can see, I put this slide up here. It just shows you the variety of development this project will accomplish between the office and the retail and the affordable housing. The building is enormous, and it's going to encompass a lot of different components. So just want to show that, to demonstrate that. And when it comes to affordable housing, I wanted to note, in comparison to some of the other mixed-use development projects we've looked at recently, this project, it's distinguished because it incorporates affordable housing. This slide here demonstrates the rent pricing someone could expect to pay to live in this great location in downtown Cleveland, in the center of everything. And I thought it's a great thing to have, to support affordable housing downtown for everybody. Let me go to the next slide here. In terms of economic impact, it's very profound what this is going to do for the community. We're talking, I can't even see my numbers because everybody's Zoom. I think it says $238 million in construction, and excuse me, let me move my window. And 25 million in other costs over a multi-year construction period. There's going to be 1,200 construction jobs that will be filled for a period of 4 years. Tom from Millennia Housing has kind of pointed out these construction workers, they're going to be downtown, they're going to be hungry, they're going to be eating at the restaurants, maybe stopping at the bars after work. And maybe as we come out of this pandemic and into a new normal, I kind of envision this being adding a lot of pedestrian traffic downtown and kind of helping things get going again. Also, when the project's complete, the developer's projecting over 300 permanent jobs, and then ideally, as things even get better, another 250 jobs when the office and retail markets bounce back. And then I think another key component is just the fact that we're rehabilitating a historic 1.3 million square feet vacant building. It's on the corner of Euclid Avenue and East 9th. And go to the next slide. What I wanted to do before I got into the sources and uses and into the more into the financial aspect, I wanted to see if Tom wanted to talk more about the project and tell us their perspective of the project. Tom, did you want to take over now and kind of show some of the things that you wanted to describe?
Sure, I'd be glad to. And I'm going to see if I can share my screen with my PowerPoint as well. It will introduce who Millennia is to y'all, show you some renderings of what we are proposing. It's a very complicated project. As you can imagine, it's over 1.3 million square feet. It is 99.99% vacant. There is a 2,000 square foot user, remnant Huntington Bank branch that remains in the space, who, you know, we're working with to hopefully remain in the building as well during this time. But let me hop into my PowerPoint and we can take it from there. And are you all able to see my screen at this time?
Yeah.
All right, great. Wonderful. So again, we are branding the building, the former Union Trust building built in 1924, also known as the Huntington Bank Building when Huntington purchased the building in 1983, also known as 925 Euclid Avenue because there's really no anchor tenant to name it after anymore. You know, the Centennial Building was 21 stories, 1.36 million square feet of usable space, and a predominantly an office building. Let me tell you a little bit about our company if you don't know who we are, and then I'll move into some of the project details. You know, the Millennia Companies was established by Frank Sanino, founder and CEO, who is still the founder and CEO of several companies that comprise of the Millennia Companies, a vertically integrated real estate company. He started in '94 with 14 units and has since been busy. We are now in, you know, roughly 30 states with over 275, I want to say 300 multifamily properties that we own, manage, or have under contract. That's over 30,000 units. And what we do is acquisition rehab. Our predominant portfolio includes affordable housing. But we have also have some office and retail in our portfolio, such as Key Tower. We do adaptive reuse projects, particularly in Cleveland, where we were, founded and where our corporate offices are. The Garfield Building, the Marble Room are an example of a project we did in 2016. We utilized county assistance in that project. We are currently doing an adaptive reuse of 75 Public Square into residential. And, Frank has sent his sites onto the Centennial Building, and I'll go into that story in a little more detail. The Millennia Companies is comprised of Millennia Housing Management. We manage all our own properties. The development company, which I work for, which we put together the deals. We generate the financing, the tax credit structure, the scope of work, everything associated with getting the building from its prior condition when we acquire it to its upgraded and rehabilitated condition, where we then turn it over to the management company. We have our own commercial group, our own hospitality group, because when Frank acquired Key Tower, the Marriott downtown came with it. So we own and manage that building and that hotel. And we have our own company, capital company as well. As you can see from the map, we are pretty much from Canada to Cuba and, east of the Mississippi, pretty well represented across the country on the East Coast and Midwest. And it starts and ends with Frank. I mean, he really drives the company. He is a Cleveland born and bred. As you can see, we've accumulated over the years some very high accolades that you can see, top 50 affordable housing owners, acquisitions, as well as his big interest, which is fine dining. If you've been to the Marble Room or Lock Keepers or to Il Venetian, which we hope will reopen again soon. Frank's passion is also fine food and bringing fine dining experience to Cleveland. Another part of his mission is also True Freedom Ministries, which is very important to him, which is reentry of folks who have had a criminal background back into the community and providing support services for him on that. And working with NRP, you may know, he co-created and sponsored the Cleveland State University Property Management Center. A little bit of the history of the building, if you don't already know it, it was built in 1924. We expect right when we're done with construction to be the 100-year anniversary of this building. And so that's why we are branding it the Centennial. 21 stories, 1.4 million square feet. It's an important building. When it was built, it was touted as the third largest office building in the world. And it is still touted as having the largest bank lobby in the world. And if you haven't been in that bank lobby, I have an open invitation to any of you to come walk it. We can certainly maintain 6 feet clearance from each other. Even if everyone on this call went, plenty of room for us to get together and still be far enough apart for safety reasons. But as we also know, over the past 90 years, this building has slowly fell into a decline where it is now, which is, for all intents and purposes, 100% vacant, undercapitalized, and in dire need of recapitalization and reuse, because our corner of 9th and Euclid is a dark spot right now. There are no lights on, barely any activity. And with the investments that have been going on up Euclid Avenue and around 9th Street, we need to address this corner as a community. So in 2015, Hudson Holdings out of Florida acquired the building with the intent to redevelop it. The one thing they did get right and did do was secure the state of Ohio's catalytic tax credit award. That's a $25 million credit that is, given out sparingly by the state. But from receiving that credit to the point of late 2017, early 2018, Hudson Holding was unable to pull together a viable redevelopment project in which to utilize those tax credits. At this point, with the property at risk, in respect of having creditors, lenders, and their financing capital stack that they used to acquire the building, calling for some sort of action, Frank and his investor team stepped in and bought the GP interest of the ownership entity. He saw where this was going. He saw that the project was going to lose the Ohio catalytic tax credit, and he worked with the state and was able to preserve and show enough promise to keep the tax credit available, which is so very important to a project of this size. Right around the end of 2019, with a plan for luxury housing, a ton of Class A office space, a new hotel, and affordable housing, along with scattered retail and a restaurant concept. He was ready to move forward, and then COVID came in and devastated the capital markets. I think we all know that. And on top of that, it created, massive unemployment, massive homelessness, and practically eliminated the need for office or hotel use. So in early 2020, Frank went back to the drawing boards and brought the project in-house to MHD. MHD, our specialty is affordable housing. And he asked us to take a look at this building to see what financing sources were available for affordable housing, along with a reduced retail, office, and public exposition center concept, and see if we have a viable project. Come mid 2020, we had identified, that we do have a viable project, which is presented before you today. The 868 affordable housing units on floors 4 through 20, a office on floors 2 and 3, and on the 21st floor, as well as then retail on the ground level, potential retail at the Chester Avenue ground level, which is 1 floor below the Euclid ground level, as well as then what we're calling the Cleveland Exposition Center. I'll go into a little detail about that in a moment. But as you can see, and this is supportive of what Bob's pictures show, building is in dire need of its rehab. It's been, vacated by all prior tenants. The building has been chopped up in some respects because our construction teams, our design and architectural and engineering teams have been doing their due diligence over the last year, actually the last 18 months, to be honest with you, to understand this building, pull together a scope and a budget for a full historic rehab.
Tom, can you advance the slide, please? I think you're speaking to the photos. You're still on the history slide.
Really? Because on my computer, it shows current conditions. You're not seeing that?
Oh,
I'm seeing history.
I think if you click the little button on the right-hand corner and it brings up the presentation, it'll bring up the presentation on your whole screen, and I think it'll show where you're at, Tom.
All right, let me see what I can do here.
There we go.
Better?
Yes, sir.
All right, gotcha.
Thanks, Ted.
So along with the pictures that Bob provided, I mean, again, this kind of shows you some of the existing conditions of the property. Not horrible. And that is because over the last 18 months, Frank and the GP team has been maintaining and conditioning this building and trying to maintain the historic integrity of the building, the important, which is vital, right? Heating and cooling, paying all the utilities, covering all the expenses in anticipation of, what would be, the centennial rehab. So let me get into a little bit of what you might see as far as our phasing and stacking program here. Here's the building showing, 21 stories. Again, the main entry on Euclid Avenue will have restaurant, retail, and museum, which is what we are branding as the Cleveland Exposition Center. Floors 2 and 3 would be boutique office space. And then starting from floors 4 all the way up to 20 would be, again, workforce, or what we also refer to as affordable housing, right? The number is 868. I think you'll see some slides that say 864, and that is just a typo. There's also the arcade on the ground floor, which is accessed off of Chester, which is also access to the parking garage entry, and the arcade area that's sort of central to the building. That is where we will host management offices, some tenant amenities such as storage, as well as mailboxes, among other things. And if we can find retail, office, or some level of incubator interest. We have some room to play with that. The important thing to note is from the ground level all the way up to floor 21 will be historically rehabbed. Let's go into a little bit about the affordable housing. Our plans and specs are 95% done. Sandvik Architects, well-known Cleveland architect, is the architect of record. Marus Brothers Construction is the GC. Both are, very well-known companies who have done a ton of historic rehabs in downtown Cleveland, as well as across the country. Here's what a typical one-bedroom might look like: 632 square feet, 680 square feet. Again, all with expected higher end finishes. Two-bedroom unit, same thing. And we will be predominantly ones and twos with maybe a smattering, and by a smattering, I mean 3 or 4 three-bedroom units. As you can imagine, with a building of this size and scale, not many of the units will be uniform in design. Often, and this is a strength of Sandvik Architects, is they work around the historic elements to create the different floor plans needed to incorporate an efficient design and layout for housing units in these adaptive reuse projects. I took a snapshot from the underwrite to give you an idea of what affordable housing means and how it will be beneficial in today's environment, where the need for affordable housing has never been greater. I mean, let's face it, I watched 60 Minutes and it was talking about Ohio's homelessness, the joblessness, and it is definitely a current and will be a future concern for our state, our region, our city. Our rents will be available to folks who are 50% area median income, 60% area median income, and 80%. What does that mean? For one to two person, to use a one bedroom, right? A one person, their income limit making $30,000 would be eligible to rent a unit. We can't rent a 50% unit to someone who isn't making over $30,400 currently. Correspondingly, the rent then would be limited to $712. A two-bedroom unit, and we'll say a two-person household, their income limit would be $34,000 annually, $34,200 to be exact, and our rent would be capped at $855. 60%, slightly increases the income limit. Also, then slightly increases the amount of rent we can charge those folks. And then at 80%, same concept. The income limit would be higher.
Excuse me. A quick question. Are those income levels family income?
Yes.
So two people would have to earn less than $30,000.
That's not true. One person, what I did was I added 1 to 2 persons typically rent a bedroom, right? The household would be $30,400 or less. So if it's a single person, right, $30,400. Yes. 2 persons. So ignore the 2 to 4 persons on the left, please. If it's a 2-person household, the income limit would be $34,000. And I could provide more detail as needed for 3, 4, 5, 6. This is really used to identify who would be in the bedroom units. But for all intents and purposes of this presentation, assume this says 1 person, $30,000, 2 persons making $34,200 as a household, and that's at the 50% AMI level.
So ostensibly, if it's one person,
Under LIHTC.
yeah,
Go
my
ahead with the
question
question.
just was, yeah, ostensibly, if one person is on the lease and they earn less than $30,000, it might be common that two people live there. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
One being, one having a job, one not.
Yeah, or one on the lease and one not.
Well, the intent is that if, someone's on a lease and they're bringing in a second person, we will know, and we will have to income qualify them if they're bringing in income.
Got it.
Ted Carter, good morning. Just a follow-up question there. It's just, as you, in your pro forma, what assumptions are you making around annualized rent increases over time?
2%.
2%, okay.
And 3% on expenses.
Thank you.
I think the important thing to understand is by doing this, we're able to generate low-income housing tax credit equity, which is so very needed for this project, and which reduces the need for additional public subsidy subordinate debt. But it also then severely limits the amount of rents that could be charged to any residents. As you see, our lowest rents will be $712. Our highest potential rents at the 80% AMI restriction is under $850. Right?
Tom, I had a
take
question.
that back. I take that back. That's under $1368.
Can I ask a question? This is Richard Perry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Do you have a number, an earmarked number of units that you will have for the 50, 60, and 80% distinctions?
I do.
Could you share that?
I've shared that with Corey and Bob. It's too large of a spreadsheet for 868 units to share with y'all, but by the end of this presentation, I could give you that answer, Mr. Perry.
Follow up to the Richard's question. I know it may have a lot of detail, but do you have like a range, like percentage? Is it 20%? Is it 40%?
Yeah, I'm gonna open it up as we talk and pull up the information for you.
Here, I can summarize it for you.
Thanks, Corey.
So, so keep in mind that there is a slight variation in unit size, but the rough breakdown is for the one bedrooms, 401 units that are 50% AMI, 144 units that are 60% AMI, 182 that are 80% AMI.
Okay.
And then it's a similar breakdown with the 2 bedrooms, 80 units at 50% AMI, 24 units at 60% AMI, 31 units at 80% AMI, and then there are 2 3-bedroom units. Tom had mentioned a couple of 3-bedroom units, and those are at 80% AMI.
Okay, so the 80% we're seeing on this spreadsheet and 60% or 50%, that's what that is? Is that a good way to read that 80%, 50% on top of the rest where it says AMI restriction?
Yes, I think the takeaway from this is income averaging, which has to be utilized in this process, averaging the amount of 50, 60, and 80% units. The average AMI has to be under 60% for the entire project, which means that a majority of these units will be at 50% AMI. I would say half, approximately half, then you'll have over a quarter at 60%, and then the remainder at 80%. It'll be predominantly 50 and 60%. with then, it looks like maybe about 200 out of the 868 as being 80%.
Okay, got it. No, you've answered my question. Thank you.
Yeah, mine too. Thank you.
I just wanted to give you a snapshot of, floor 4, floor 11, floor 19, what it could look like. And as we move up the chart, this is a simple way of showing all the 50s grouped together, all the 60s grouped together, and all the 80s. But I think each floor is going to have a mix of that. And I'll tell you why we did it that way, was to expand the market of users to lease out these units, because 868 units of affordable housing is a lot to swallow over a course of 4 years, 5 years as we lease up and stabilize. But we also feel that the downtown market over the last decade has done such a wonderful job of creating higher end affordable housing or high end market rate housing out of these class B and C office buildings. We have not seen a lot of affordable housing added to the downtown market. This project at this time serendipitously addresses that issue.
Tom, with your permission, let me just Ted Carter, take this opportunity to augment the point you're making on behalf of the county and DOD's position on this project is, as we have heavily supported the revitalization of downtown Cleveland, to Tom's point, if you look at within a 4-block radius of this project, we probably invested with this group close to $15 million of investment for market rate apartments, the Lumen to the east, Beacon to the west, CAC, Cleveland Athletic Center across the street. And so one of the things that really appealed to us about this project programmatically was this focus on workforce and supporting from an equity standpoint, the workers that not only will work downtown, but I think because of the transit artery on Euclid, this could support folks who work in other parts of Cleveland and even the county to live downtown. So this was very appealing to us, and we particularly like, and hopefully Tom, you'll go into this, the how you're going to integrate the workforce housing into the other elements of the project, and the experience that your team brings to this project around workforce. So this isn't a new project for you. It may be new downtown, but not with respect to what you do nationally and across the county.
Right. I think the map I showed with the United States with stars on it, all those properties, all those states are practically affordable housing properties, with just a few, and I want to say under 20 market rate housing mixed in. So that's what we do. We do affordable housing. I think what you'll see though with the design, that it won't feel like affordable housing. The layouts, the incorporation of amenities, as well as the combining of the residential with the retail and the office designs, it will feel like a market rate project. It'll look like a market rate project, and it'll be managed as a market rate project with utmost respect and the utmost maintenance and operations of this building. You'll see that, we are lauded across the country as a leader in affordable housing because many, if not all of our affordable housing projects look market rate. Because we have a finite amount of time, I didn't add slides from our transformations from across the country, but would be glad to do so and follow up with you all so you can see that. Also glad to take any of you on a tour of any of our market rate or affordable housing projects that we have in the area, so you get an idea of the level of professionalism and maintenance that we maintain at our properties. I know
This
that
is sorry, this is Michael Obi. I have a quick question about the CSU students. Considering the $30,000 income for one bedroom at 715. One bedroom, I know Cleveland State housing around that Cleveland State is very expensive. This may be a good deal for students. Do you envision Cleveland State students, of course, with little or no income of their own, using that income as a gauge, will probably take on, become significant portion of that low income housing? Have you all thought about that, the impact of that?
Michael, students are not allowed to utilize low-income housing tax credit units.
Okay, so students will not, so there will be a question whether somebody's a student and they will not qualify to be tenants in the building?
Correct. Now, if you got someone going to night school, perhaps, but if they have a full-time job and they are income qualified, they would likely be eligible under that. But no full-time students. We are targeting, healthcare workers, maintenance techs, bus drivers, young professionals who are getting their first job, people who work on the buildings. We met with Kevin Barry from Channel 5 last summer, who was doing an article about how maintenance techs, the folks who work in the buildings in and around downtown, and often in the apartments that have been created in these Class B and C office buildings, can't afford to live downtown. They have to live, sort of on the edges of Cleveland or in the inner ring suburbs, and then find their way into town using public transportation. And they didn't have a place to live. This is an opportunity for them to live downtown, to not have to rely on necessarily driving and commuting downtown, but instead, live near where they work. Taking that premise, we really rolled forward with, who else might be able to really take advantage of this. And, being on the health line up and down Euclid Avenue, all the jobs that are generated at UH, at Cleveland Clinic, if they don't want to live in University Circle or Midtown, here's an opportunity for them to, live downtown, utilize the resources, the healthy food options at Heinen's across the street, and really have a wonderful place to live, and then hop on the health line up Euclid Avenue to where they need to work, east of the city.
Hey, Tom, this is Khalil. I have a quick question for you, just a clarifying question on the, you mentioned just now the full-time employment income qualification. We've seen, and this is going to go away as, hopefully anyway, as we're going through this project. But people have been experiencing a lot of underemployment as a result of the pandemic. It's just highlighted people's hours get cut. People don't have full-time employment. If you dip under that full-time employment, or receive unemployment for the portion of time that you've lost and that kind of thing. In a situation like that, that income also gets counted. So if somebody's not full-time, they're maybe, 25 hours a week now, they're still qualified though, right?
I believe so, Khalil. The intent of the program is to provide housing for people who need it. So I believe that to be the case. It's not going to be a homeless shelter. This is not going to be student housing, and this isn't going to be high-end market rate housing at all. It's for folks who are working and need a place that they can afford to live.
There are specific, the regulations really are specific to full-time students. And so it's those folks that are full-time students that may end up being low income because either they're not working full-time, or they're living on student loans, that really where the LIHTC regulations kick in. So someone that is underemployed would simply be lower income.
As at the risk of overextending my own personal experience, when I was finishing college and going through my master's program, I was working full-time and going to school full-time. I was a full-time work, 9 to 5, and then going to school at night. And you mentioned that, but I was full-time as a student, but I was also a full-time worker. And I actually would have likely qualified for this income level at this point in my life. But somebody who is a full-time student but is also working full-time, that person could also take advantage of this, or no?
Corey, do you know that level of detail?
You know, I don't. I'll look it up. I'll look it up, but
I was going to say, I think what the rules go to is, they don't want kind of, traditional students that are being supported by, father, mother to kind of qualify for this sort of housing. So Corey and Tom are right. The rules and regulations do go to specific rules about, whether a student can be a dependent or is a dependent on somebody else's tax return and that sort of thing. They are also correct in that, for example, a single parent, that is going to school could qualify. So there are exceptions to the general rule, but the general prohibition is, they don't want traditional students that are being supported by mom and dad to be able to find a loophole to get, kind of very nice but restricted rent sort of housing. So that's it in summary. But we can certainly provide very technical details, but the rules are pretty complicated.
I don't think I need more detail. I apologize for taking up so much time on this. I just recognize that CSU has a great deal of non-traditional students. That's the only reason why I thought of it. Thank you.
Sure. Shall I move on with the presentation? So, along with the housing on the 5th floor, we will be incorporating resident amenities. These are all conceptual designs provided by Sandvik. But the goal is also to allow congregation, hopefully, again, folks to get out of their unit, utilize common areas, because certainly this building has plenty of it. And so this is to give you an idea of some of the amenities that we're offering these folks. Game room, a playroom concept, fitness rooms, workspace, all things that'll help improve the residents' living experience, and also provide the project with a competitive advantage when folks are considering, I qualify for affordable housing, where should I live? We want them to choose the Centennial. We want them to choose the corner of 9th and Euclid because of the superior design, the quality of construction. And as you can imagine, this building, built in 1924, cannot be replicated in today's dollars and cents. I think someone mentioned it would cost over $1 billion to rebuild this building with its level of quality. I mean, it's marble, it's granite, it's concrete. This building is soundproof. It is solid. And what we really, really want to do is bring it back to life. And along with that, provide a level of finishes, amenities, and services that will make this really a superior affordable housing experience for anyone in the region. So that's the housing portion with the amenities. Really some of the more exciting concepts will really be, what are we doing to the ground floor? What are we doing to the largest bank hall, bank lobby in the world? And if you have not been in there to see it yourself, it is dramatic and incredible. We had at the time had a designer out of New York City design some concepts that we are going to be pursuing as we program the bank lobbies and historically rehabilitate them and try to really bring activity back to the corner of 9th and Euclid. So right off the northwest corner of the building, across from PNC Bank, coming in off of 9th Street, is the Grand Rotunda. It is incredible. And you'll notice as you look up and to the left, there are murals that will be painstakingly restored and preserved as part of this project. This is an example of what really we expect this to look like. We are also been working diligently with the Western Reserve Historical Society to provide them with the larger of the two bank lobbies for a project we are calling the Cleveland Exposition Center. It's really a museum and an opportunity for them to exhibit some of their larger antiquities that they've collected over the last several decades. Many of them from the Crawford Auto Museum. That in University Circle, they have space, but not enough space to show some of their larger, more opulent pieces and exhibits that really came from Cleveland's Gilded Age, and something that I think Clevelanders are forgetting more and more. What a great city we were, what a great city we are, what a great city we will become and remain. So here at Millennia, we're all Cleveland homers. This was a big part of the programming, especially when we realized we had this grand space, which in and of itself talks to the greatness of our city when it was built in 24. We wanted to make sure that it was reopened to the public and told the story of what this city has been and can still be. So that's that dramatic space. On the other side of the space, the other smaller bank lobby, the concept is for a Marble Room style Century Club restaurant. If you've been to the Marble Room, you'll know that it was a historic bank lobby that was vacated by PNC Bank back in 2015. Frank Sanito tried to find other alternate uses for it, but when there weren't many options, and Tony, you may recall this because I believe we were talking about this, there weren't many takers at that time. And that was back when the economy was booming, right? So the concept is another Marble Room style high-end restaurant. Frank's passion is fine dining. He wants to take this space and working with his wife, Melise, transform it into another wonderful dining experience. I could tell you this, even though I don't go to the Marble Room very often, it is back on track. It's reopened and it's doing very well despite the COVID restrictions that have limited its hours. And we feel that it would be a wonderful addition to this building. And as you can tell, this is affordable housing mixed with fine dining, historic rehab, a museum, and other retail that we can generate and bring to the deal in order to, bring this building back to its former glory and opulence in some respect and reopen it to the public. We feel that the Century Club combined with the Cleveland Exposition Center will really reactivate that corner, whether it's public involvement through visitors or through the residents who are living above. We feel that not only will this project save this building, but it will be a large contributing factor to the block. where Heinen's and hopefully Geiger's comes back. And, you know, we're taking the position that all ships rise with the tide, and this will be a big part of those ships rising. So, Bob, I'm going to send this back to you before I move on to my next slide. You wanted me to hand it back to you. So I'm going to unshare my screen and bring it back to you now.
Okay, let me get back to sharing my screen. I can see.
And then, Bob, I'll be able to go into a little more detail about financial aspects and structuring with my last few slides after you're done.
Okay. Sorry, I had to move my screen here. So,
Hey, I had a question for Jeff. How are we doing on time, Jeff?
I'm muted. I think we're okay. I mean, it's 9 o'clock, but I don't have a real backstop to this. Maybe I defer to Sean.
So I would just say, worst case scenario, I've got to resend an invite for the Microsoft Teams for our executive session. So we'll see how we do timing wise. And then if I have to do that, I'll send it to all the board members.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for inquiring, Richard.
Okay, so to get back to some of the financial aspects of the project, I put up here the sources and uses of this enormous project. You can see the county is a very small part of this project. However, we're going to get to it in a minute here. It's a very important component to get the project going in its early stages. I'm going to go to the next slide here. These are the terms where, oops, sorry, I got to go back. These are the terms that we're proposing for the county loan. It's a $5 million loan. It'll be at 2.5% interest. And we really had to structure this loan to fit the need of this project because there is a long construction period at the beginning. We'd like to allow interest only for the first 5 years, and then the remaining loan will be a fully amortizing loan for 15 years. The other key components is we will have a lien on the real estate behind the primary lenders, and we will be pari passu with the city of Cleveland, who has put together a HUD 108 loan, a $15 million HUD 108 loan for the project. And we have a strong personal guarantee by Frank Sanito. This loan, while the job creation will be much higher, we are asking the developer to commit to 50 jobs within 3 years of the project completion. Let me get to the next point here. So, yeah, I wanted to bring this slide up. You know, for this project, we'd like to do things a little bit differently than we usually do. I'd say this is a little bit rare, but we have done it in the past. Normally, we like to say that the county is the last money in the deal, which demonstrates its but-for nature of our gap financing loans that we do here. It's but for these last few dollars, the project wouldn't have happened without the county's participation. In this case, the developer is asking us for our assistance earlier in the project. I believe the county loan will still be a but-for scenario. Like I said, we've taken this approach at least once before because it was fitting to the situation. And I believe it fits here. The immediate need for the developer in this project is for us to assist them in bridge financing to pay off the existing mortgage on the property, and ideally avoid a second foreclosure on this property. If there were if a second foreclosure were to occur on the property, they could potentially lose their tax credit equity. And it's important to note also the city of Cleveland has looked at this project, and they have approved their loan proceeds to be used in a similar way. So this slide here is just showing how the developer would use the city and county loans to help pay off the Gamma loan. And I know, or Tom has told me about there's some expensive terms to this Gamma loan that they would like to retire this debt because the debt is costing them a lot. So the city and county loans will they'll help pay off the Gamma loan, and while they're assembling the capital stack for this enormous project, as you can imagine, a project this size, there's a lot of moving parts, and they're still working through all those and getting their lenders. They're getting their lenders together for this.
Thanks, Bob. If I can supplement that, the Gamma loan is coming due on April 1st. They've forbeared with us over this period of COVID several times, but their patience is running thin. This is a New York bank, a private bank that was assumed when Frank and his investment team bought into the GP Capital. This is typically not a relationship of millennia. And while they've been patient, their patience is running thin. And we really have to have a plan to get them out, which you see on the left side, the source side. We're working with Berkadia, who is syndicating to Deutsche Bank to provide us with debt, but they also expect some city and county assistance because, as you can imagine, not many lenders in this world want to invest or lend on a vacant building in downtown Cleveland right now that is generating no operating income. Further, as you can see, the ownership or the sponsor has been carrying this building for 18 months and has been doing so throughout COVID while trying to push a project forward and get this thing under construction and under adaptive reuse. Part of that has been making sure the building is secure and safe, paying all utilities on a vacant building over the past 18 to 24 months, and maintaining it so that we preserve the historic nature and quality of the building as well, which is so very important to the construction budget, so that we're not increasing a construction budget to such that it's not a feasible project, but also to ensure that the historic elements remain in place for the historic tax credits so very needed for the larger project.
Did you say April the Gamma loan is coming due, April 1?
Yep.
So what's the timeline for getting this approved? What's the timeline you need?
Well, as soon as possible, Khalil, but quite honestly, if we feel if we have the approvals in place, we could get them to forbear and buy a little more time to allow us to pull together a loan closing for taking them out.
On the carrying costs, are the interest expenses paid up to date, or is that a accrued interest?
This is what has been paid. Actually, this number's short, and what Bob has done is circulated this prior to me getting the updated numbers.
Okay.
But regardless, it gives you an idea of the amount of investment that has been paid already. And sure, we're incurring charges every day, quite honestly.
Yeah. And second question, is Millennia the sole sponsor, or are there limited partners also? Could you mention, I thought I heard you mention when you bought into the GP.
Yeah, no, Frank is the primary, he's the managing member, but he does have an investment group to help cover these costs.
Okay.
But ultimately, it's his deal and his money on the line.
Okay, well, so if you'd like me, I'll kind of keep moving forward, and I know we spent a lot of time already, so I'll keep moving forward with what I was going to talk about. As I mentioned before, just wanted to spell out the terms of the City of Cleveland loan, and sorry, I have to move my window on my screen so that I can read my slide. So go back. So as you can see there, the City of Cleveland's providing a $15 million loan. They're offering 10 years interest only, and also the city has approved a non-school TIF that will assist the project. I kind of made a note here as well. We do have some information about the other financing. Another big key element of this project is the Ohio TMUD, Transformational Mixed Use Development Tax Credit. And for those of you who don't already know it, the guidelines are still being established, and Wynia is waiting to hear more about it. And Tom, if there was anything you wanted to add about the TMUD here, you can do it here or maybe later on.
No, this time is fine. I mean, TMUD, and that's the best acronym I guess the state could come up with. For projects like this that are catalytic in nature, that are so large but so important to a city, because you can't really demolish this building. They created through Senator Schuring a tax credit for large multi-use development projects. This project was actually the poster child for the legislation when they drafted it in mind. And it just shows you the amount of effort and how long we've been working on this project to work with the city or the state to actually create a new tax credit program for a project like this. Kind of goes to show you, the lengths that we are really working through to see this project through. Yes, it got passed right at the end of the year, signed into law by Governor DeWine, I think, right after the New Year's. And now Ohio Development Services Agency is in the process of just formulating the rules and guidance for applying for this tax credit.
Thank you, Tom. So, when it comes to the financial analysis, I just want to say, I want to use the word spoiled. I feel very spoiled. We feel very spoiled that we've had the National Development Council helping us analyze and underwrite the project. They look at tax credit projects across the country on a more frequent basis, and have experts like Corey Leone, who you've heard from. I didn't get a chance to introduce, and Courtney Pogue, who joined us today. Corey and Courtney worked very hard to analyze and summarize the project. Without their assistance, we would not have been able to report all this information as quickly as was necessary to bring this loan forward as quick as we could. So in this slide, I just wanted to show some of the main key points that came out of this underwriting, and we can talk more about the financials. However, we're showing a good debt coverage ratio and loan to value, and we've also the National Development Council has looked at the personal financial statement of Frank Sanito and found a solid personal guarantee. And that's something, Mr. Chairman, we can talk more in executive session about the personal financial statement, and also just why I haven't sent that out to you.
Thanks for addressing that, Bob.
Yeah. Because I know that was on everyone's mind. Really, this kind of concludes what I was going to talk about. The Department of Development, we are recommending this loan for approval by the CCCIC because we feel it is a worthwhile risk that has a very profound impact for our community. And you know, I'll just open up to you, Mr. Chairman, if you wanted to ask questions or if you wanted, or whatever you wanted to do next.
Yeah, I thought, thank you. And Tom and team, and all the members, the trustees that have been asking questions along the way. Obviously, just an immense undertaking for all involved, right? Huge capital stacks here, and admittedly one that, you know, in my banking segment of the world, I don't get a ton of exposure to, but we are blessed with, you know, we've got some real estate professionals, not to put anybody on the spot here, but I would really enjoy any feedback or commentary or questions, you know, for Tom and his team, you know, from, you know, those who are what I would consider, you know, our real estate folks, and including our special guest today, our soon to be our future trustee as well, Suzanne. But Tony, Suzanne, Radhika, anything that you can provide in this session, of course, we can dig into in exec as well, but would appreciate your thoughts.
I'm happy to speak up as a lender to Frank from Erie Bank. Great team, responsive to questions, willing to take a seat at the table if you need to talk about or see their properties. My only question, and I had to take a call, so I may have missed it if it came up. In bringing in the $5 million sooner than later, will the equity be all in before the $5 million is asked to go in for the refinance? That was probably the greatest question I had so far. I think the presentation was very well done, though.
Thanks, Suzanne. The equity that we showed on the source and use for the bridge has already been spent. It just goes to show you the amount of skin we have in the game, and that number is actually light. But we wanted to show you that our commitment extends beyond just dreams and ideas, but actual cash that we've been paying out to carry this building and preserve it.
It's just not available. It's spent on either hard costs or soft costs on the project and not toward the refinance, which is why the cash is needed for the refinance.
Correct.
Okay.
You know, we're trying
And
to
that can all
finance.
be and that can all be proven out easily through paid invoices or whatever.
Correct. I made a point of that with my accountant.
Thank you.
Good morning, Tom. It's great to see you, and thanks for the presentation today. It's exciting to see this project starting to take off as well. It sounds like there's a strong development team, not only with Millennia, but with Marus being the contractor. They certainly understand and have experience with these historic rehab projects, so that's great. The architect, same thing with the good experience with designing the units and the various uses and how they'll fit together. So that's great. It's in the hands of a very capable team, which should add a lot of credibility to the project. One thing that I would be interested in hearing from you, so this is a little bit of I wouldn't say newer, but sort of a different concept than the housing that's been going on in downtown Cleveland over the past numerous years, and which has been primarily the higher end luxury housing. A lot of that's been rehabilitation of existing older historic buildings and some new construction as well. So if you look at our rental market over the past 5 to 7 years, it's clearly grown in the number of units. It's clearly grown in the rental rate per unit. When we hit the $2 per square foot high water mark, I think we all sort of looked around and said, hey, is this really achievable? and sustainable in Cleveland. And, that was 5 years ago or more. And now it's, up in the 225, 230, 240 on some of the newer stuff. So there's a ton of supply that continues to come on and is slated to come on in the luxury market rate housing. So to have an affordable, workforce housing project is I think a really important, ingredient here. Curious to know your take on the existing workforce housing market in kind of downtown and the surrounding areas. We're talking about 850 units here. That's, obviously a large project, probably the largest unit count that would be delivered in one single project. Is there going to be some phasing involved with the unit delivery? And second part to that would be, where do you expect the demand to come from? How does the existing, workforce housing market look like today? Kind of what does the lease up look like?
Sure. And I think a very insightful question, because it's one that we have been taking particularly strong attention to. When I started my when I started my career in Cleveland real estate in 2000 at City Hall, I was the downtown housing manager, and one of my jobs was to maintain a role of downtown housing and what the rents per square foot were, and what can we do to inspire additional investment to increase downtown population and rents. I think at that time there was maybe 5,000 units total, and the average rent per square foot was $1.05 at the high end, and that was a high watermark. I'm so glad now to see that we're approaching 20,000 market rate units, as well as achieving rents at well over $2.30 a square foot. I've since switched focus and been focusing on affordable housing for millennia across the country, and glad to come back to Cleveland and attend to this. With that in mind, one of the first things we did was commission a market study from Vote Center, who we utilize across the country. A market study is required for all low-income housing tax credit projects across the country. And in such, our study showed that, you had to phase in some respect, the affordable housing. As such, our plans then would be to start lease up as certain floors become done, and not just drop 868 units altogether on one fell swoop. So we'll be working closely with the city of Cleveland. So when floors 4, 5, and 6 are done, for example, we will get certificate of occupancies for those floors, and we'll commence lease up. Our lease up schedule, which was included in our underwrite that we shared with Bob and Corey, doesn't estimate more than 30 units leased up per month. And when there are particularly well-known months where there's not a lot of leasing going on, we acknowledge that. So in the month of December, we don't have many leases and lease up categorized or projected. We took a very realistic view to this, knowing that over the period of 4 to 5 years, which is why we asked the county for a 5-year IO period to get to stabilization, we will be actively leasing up as soon as units become available and the city issues the certificate of occupancy allowing us to occupy those units. So there'll be a phased introduction of units over a period of time to allow us to, get the appropriate residents in those units in a scheduled and organized manner.
Hey, Tom, Ted, quick question there, and you all are skilled in doing this, but what can you just share kind of the outreach to the tenant base that you're going to be, what are the channels that you have in place to drive that lease up activity?
Well, for starters, this project's in our backyard, despite the fact that Millennia is in over 26 states with over, almost 300 apartment communities across the country. Cleveland is where our network is. We have and I don't know the number exactly off the top of my head, but over 12 to 15 affordable housing properties in Northeast Ohio. We know where to draw upon and identify from a management company standpoint where our residents are, how to reach them, how to do community outreach, and to make available the information and the marketing of these units. So we're not as concerned about that. You couple that with the fact that the unemployment and the underemployment that exists right now, the need for affordable housing has never been greater. It was a need prior to COVID-19, and now it's just emphasized as, you know, an emergency, a national emergency for the need for affordable housing. So we're not concerned about lease up at this point.
Yeah, Jeff and Radhika here. I agree that, you know, this project without low-income housing tax credit may have been difficult to do because many people have tried and given up on this project. But just looking at their capital stack, it's fine, like we're doing this initial loan, but if it wasn't for the capability of Millennia, I would have been concerned, like, will they be able to put all the financing together, because others have tried and failed on this building for many times. But adding low income, you know, tax credit, about 168 million, federal historic tax credit, which is automatic, which based on the team, you know, Nathan, Sandvik, all of them, Paul, Millennia, that's what they specialize in. So it's the team that's managing all this. I feel very confident that they will be able to do the federal historic tax credits and state historic tax credits to get the benefit of that, which will be needed to complete this building. If it was someone new who wasn't familiar with that, I'd be very skeptical. So given this team, all those credits are very reasonable and real that can happen. I think Tom, you know, just for full disclosure, I too have worked with Tom when he was at UCI, familiar with Millennia, worked with Nathan and Paul, and a phenomenal team to make this happen. So,
Radhika, this the county shares your view.
You know, on top of that, I mean, although Millennia works across the country, we see this project particularly as a Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, state of Ohio community project. In other words, you know, we are trying to bring in as many local investors and talent to this project, because no one gets this building more so than us Clevelanders and folks who live in Northeast Ohio. I don't think someone from New York City, a banker from New York City, will get this as much as a banker from Cleveland. And we're working with the local Berkadia team to bring in Deutsche Bank for this financial investment. And everyone's been going to bat for this project. And in part, based on the strength of our prior relationships, but also because this is truly a community-based project where we are providing, I think, an important community asset and preserving an important community asset. And one of our struggles right now is also working with the state to keep that historic catalytic award in Cleveland, because as you can imagine, it was awarded in 2015. They're running out of patience with us as well. But based on all of the energy and progress we have made, despite COVID and despite, you know, all the challenges that our community and the nation has experienced over the last 18 months, we've shown them progress to keep it here for, you know, to the end of the year. We absolutely must close on this project, and we will before the end of the year to make it work.
Hey, Tom, can you speak to, as a community project, how you'll address community benefit agreements, whether there's one contemplated,
Absolutely.
what that means to your company, either in other projects or particularly in this one, as you talk about Cleveland, relative to workforce, relative to contracting, operations, retail lease up, et cetera. How will you approach making sure this helps Cleveland's total community move forward?
Absolutely. I mean, Brian, not only acknowledging that, the mission of affordable housing, reaches to a segment of the population that typically hasn't been catered to downtown over the last couple decades. We are really excited that Marus has come on board as the general contractor. As you may or may not know, they do a ton of downtown historic rehabilitations that often utilize public funding. We've already had many conversations with them, ensuring that they know this will be a union project. It'll be paying federal and state prevailing wage, but also that it has to be an inclusionary project. And because of the city funding involved, you can imagine the MBE, FBE, and Cleveland-based residency hiring practices will be in play.
For me, talk about beyond the hiring and contracting. Who will be retail tenants as you have some retail? What about professional services? How will you engage them? I mean, this is an opportunity. Our hope would be that disserved population would not be able to qualify at some point for apartments like this, because we start to build income and wealth in that underserved population.
Absolutely. And while this is a correction to providing housing that makes itself available to folks who haven't experienced the wealth or who haven't weathered the last 12 months or 18 months very well, if you have some retail opportunities for us, we're more than welcome to meet with them and talk to them. As you can imagine, retail and office hasn't been very active. We have that programmed, and we are actively going out and working with brokers to explore that. But step by step, to be honest with you, I want to get the housing project moving forward, while we also then dual track the commercial piece as well. As far as professional relationships go, we are open to, any kind of relationship introductions that you would like to make or anyone on the board would like to make, and we would follow up on those.
I do have another couple of questions. First, the restaurant, I assume, is going to be a Sonito-owned property. It's awfully close to the Marble Room. There's that. And I did wonder why American Preservation Builders, will they be working with Marus? I just wondered why they weren't named.
Because this is too big for APB, who's handling other projects in other parts of the country for us right now. And I assume that Marus might be relying heavily on other local general construction companies on this deal.
Sorry, I'm juggling between CCIC's evaluating Centennial, which is going well, our Centennial project. I'm vaguely aware of it.
Hey, Ted, you might want to mute.
Hey, Ted, you're on.
Okay, I'm sorry, doing two things.
Yeah, guys, I think one important thing to point out about the contractor too, and why it's so important, because there's the extensive compliance items, right, and processes that go along with the federal and state historic credits. So the project becomes monitored from the very beginning and gets monitored all the way through, and construction, and then after construction there are certification periods and things like that. So because of all that, really, again, such an integral part of the development team is the contractor. This is a historic building. They're going to get in there, they're going to start ripping down walls. You don't know what you're going to find when you get into these buildings. So having that contractor with expertise, I know they've done several of the larger projects in downtown Cleveland. They have some significant experience with a large building in Detroit, the Book Cadillac Hotel. And so, again, just happy to hear that there's that level of expertise, particularly on the historic rehab side.
Any other questions or dialogue while we have our guests on the line? Sean, do you want to facilitate taggling between exec session and coming back to this meeting most efficiently?
So I sent everybody an updated meeting invite, just extended the time. So what we're gonna do, and I said this before, we're gonna log out of the Zoom call. We are gonna go into the Microsoft Teams call, and then we will return back to the Zoom once executive session concludes.
Is the Zoom the same link that we logged in before?
Yes. We'll just come back to this one.
So the people that are in the meeting and not going to the executive session should just stay put and.
Yeah, we can keep it open.
Yep.
Okay.
So Tom.
If
so
you keep
Tom,
it open, I would say muting it.
So we need a motion to go into executive session.
Yes, we do. Do I have a motion? Is that by vote again?
Yep.
It is. Yep. I need a motion to go into exec. Ooh.
I'll second it.
Second, thank you. Khalil,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
Michelle, Susan,
Aye.
Jeff is an aye. Richard,
Aye.
Rigvika,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Tony,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and Michael Chambers.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, we'll be back.
Thank you.
Hey, Jeff. Sorry to be confused. Do I need to sign into the other invitation or stay here? You're on mute.
Yeah, I tried to sign in and it's kind of strange. It doesn't let you use your camera. And I also said that I've left the other meeting. I don't know, let me go into my email and see.
Should we close out of here and sign into the other one? I'm not sure.
That's what I thought. Yeah, and I thought I had already done that, but I'm still here.
Hello. So I would suggest there's a button on your screen that says leave meeting.
Yep.
Right.
And then sign into the other one.
And then sign into Microsoft Teams. And then when you're all ready, go ahead and use the Zoom link to sign back in, and I'll let you back in from the lobby.
Okay. Thank you.
Back into here.
Suzanne, I'm sorry, was that a question?
Yes.
What was your question?
Leave this meeting, go into Teams, and then also go into Zoom?
No, just go into Microsoft Teams.
Okay.
And then I'm sure you'll get further instructions on when to log back into Zoom.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, good morning, everybody. We're slowly coming back onto the Zoom call. I hope you're still around. I can see Tom, Carly, Ted, Nathan. You hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Good, thanks. Sorry for the delay there.
Oh, no problem.
Toggling two different virtual mediums here on one computer.
That's impressive.
I know.
I couldn't do that.
55-year-old, you know what I mean? I'm gonna brag to my kids when I get home.
You're killing it.
I know, right? It's the unfortunate reality that we live in, right?
Oh, totally. I'm so done with it. But yeah, yeah, you're right.
And a number of efficiencies though, relative to joint calls, bringing other business partners in, you know, you're.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I've missed the in-person, but yep, I'm with you.
Here we go. All right, the members are coming in droves here. Hey, Sean, just as a matter of procedure, are we sticking around for the meeting part of this after we go through our vote?
So I was going to put that to the board, whether we wanted to reschedule our annual meeting given the timing, or if folks are willing to stay. I don't think that it will take too long. There's not much on the annual meeting agenda, but I guess that would be dependent on, you know, hold on one sec.
I have a 10:30 hard stop, so we should be okay on my chair. I don't know everybody else's calendar though.
I think we could get through it by 10:30. I'll put it that way.
That works for me, Sean.
Okay.
Yeah, I prefer we move forward and get it done by 10:30 versus trying to reschedule another meeting.
Okay.
With that, again, our friends from Millennia, thank you for joining us this morning and outlining in such great detail what the plans are for the old Huntington building, and it's very exciting. It's complex. We knew that on the front end. Had some real nice conversation. Are delighted with the fact that you folks are championing this project, and we're in a position to take a motion amongst the committee members to move forward with an approval at the CCCIC level. So one subject too, and maybe Tony can clean me up on this, we're looking to just mirror the guarantor liquidity and net worth covenants that the senior lender would require for our deal as well, just to reduce any disparity or confusion between those. So if those are to be determined, so be it, but I just wanted to make sure we included it in our offering, if that's okay. With that, I will take a motion for approval.
So moved.
Brian Hall, second.
Thank you and thank you. Most people are on mute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, we're in good shape. Again, Tom and team, congratulations and look forward. We understand this, you're not taking residents in tomorrow. So we understand that this will be a long endeavor and we look forward to the advancement of it.
Yeah, this is one large step on the early stage of this thing. We are grateful for your understanding, your vote of confidence. And we look forward to working with y'all on this project. And again, if you have any interested parties, tenants on the commercial side, resident side, certainly send them to me. We're talking to everybody. This is a big lift, but our shoulders are broad. And we really look forward to bringing this home and really having a wonderful ribbon cutting ceremony in the next 5 years.
Hey, Tom, just one opportunity that jumps to mind. You probably have read in the press about Quicken Loans expansion downtown. So some of those workers may, I don't know if they're going to be remote or a combination, but just connecting with them in the near term could be an opportunity over the next several.
Sure, if they are from a residential side, income qualified, and certainly if Quicken Loans needs some office space, we can accommodate
Yeah,
them.
some of these they're more junior people, so I don't know the pay scale, but we're supporting them through a couple of different, they'll be the full range would be my guess. So
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay, well, we do have some official CIC business to conclude the regular meeting. We just need an approval for the minutes from the 6/10/20, so a motion to approve.
I move.
Second.
Okay, and we also need a motion to approve the financials from April, sorry, that's me, April of 2020 to December of 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, that concludes this meeting. And does any, do we need a quick restroom break, or can we roll right into the annual meeting?
I say keep rolling.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And Tom, you don't have to stick around. You don't have to stick around any longer.
Unless you want to.
Thank you. I appreciate your time this morning.
You got it.
Thanks, everybody. I'm signing off too. Good talking, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Nathan.
Okay, so Jeff, we need to go through the roll call and everything else again for the annual proceeding.
Okay, we'll do. Go ahead. Matt.
I'm sorry. Did you say my name?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry. There you are. I'm sorry, my friend. Matt Carroll. Michelle.
Yes.
Susan.
Here.
Jeff, yes. Richard. No.
Yes.
Rick. I think I see you.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yes.
Michael Obi.
Yes.
Thank you, Tony.
Here.
Ryan.
Here.
Thank you. And Michael Chambers.
Here.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, so obviously this is we're pressed for time. So Jeff, I don't know if you had any words you wanted to say in reflection of 2020 before we move on, but you let me know.
Any of us really need to reflect more on 2020. I am, well, I'll tell you what, I don't want to take this lightly. I am
A reflection.
we didn't have a whole lot of volume for all the appropriate reasons. I continue to be personally very gratified to be aligned with you all and have these meaningful discussions around how we can do our part and help the region, transform and attract business. And it has been a ton of fun. If we do attempt to get out in front of the structural details of projects like this on a more proactive basis going forward, it's going to require more of our time. So I would just make sure everybody's aware of that. There's probably some really good things in that. I can recall back in the day, and some of you can laugh with me, one of our bankers, and this was back at the old county building, right? Like where the hotel is, right? He would, for lack of a better word, he would kind of hijack me before the meeting, just to say, hey, Jeff, what are your bullet points? What are your issues? Can I address them now before we get into the forum? You know what I mean? And it was funny, but it was also pretty productive. It made for a more efficient meeting. So, let's just think about that a little bit. Think about once a month is not a burden. If we need to have if there's deal flow, we can all get together, a couple weeks out in front of that, so be it, but not to solve for it now, but anyway. And then, finally, just to thank everybody for their time and their effort here. I committed to helping lead and organize this effort through 21, and then all bets are off. So I don't know if we can go into this now, Sean, but I will take the advantage of welcoming my good friend here, Suzanne. We had the opportunity to get to know each other and work together for 4 or 5 years over at First Lakewood, where I was prior to my journey here. And I will just tell you, huge add to the dialogue. I think you can always already sense that in today's dialogue. And very committed to this town, resident of our city, extraordinary banker, even a better person. And I think you'll enjoy your presence. Welcome.
So that's a nice segue. And Jeff, thank you for your leadership and agreeing to move forward for 2021. And I'll echo Jeff's sentiments as to the appreciation for this board and what you guys all bring in your unique skill sets. It's a real pleasure managing this board with you. But with that, I'd like to read Suzanne's bio for everyone who may have not had the chance to meet her prior. So with that, Susan Hamilton is a Senior Vice President of Commercial Real Estate for Erie Bank, an affiliate of CNB Bank out of Pennsylvania with $5 billion in assets. CNB is a publicly traded financial institution with affiliates in Erie, Buffalo, and Columbus, and most recently Cleveland. Suzanne is a seasoned financial professional with specialty in commercial real estate sales, lending, and relationship portfolio management. She is experienced in winning business, analyzing business opportunities, underwriting projects, and closing deals. Her effectiveness is in relationship management while working across business lines and providing financial solutions for her customers while helping to expand business and profits. Her volunteerism includes the board of directors for the Human Rights Campaign, advisory boards for Graffiti Heart, Commercial Real Estate Women, and First American Commercial Title, and several industry memberships. So with that, Susan, if you could say a few words to the board, I'd appreciate it.
Just hello, thank you for the invitation. I think between Jeff and Sean, you've heard all you need to hear about me for now. I look forward to meeting everyone in person at some point, and then I'll bend your ear. Thank you so much. I look forward to it.
Thanks.
Just a comment too, I've wanted to make here. So I've gotten to know and have worked with Suzanne for many years now, and just thrilled to have you as part of the board here, and looking forward to working with you.
And
Thanks.
Robbie, go ahead.
No, Radhika, go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to say welcome, Suzanne, and we work together with Commercial Real Estate Women on the board. A fantastic good friend too. But as I mentioned to Sean, because now for the past 2-3 years I've been in Lorraine, I've asked to step down from the board. So I will welcome, and I won't be there in the next meeting, but thank you. It's great that I at least met you on this.
Perfect. Perfect. And selfishly, with Jeff at the lead and Tony, and I know Radhika's leaving, familiar names and faces was what really compelled me to have an interest, along with the development of this city as a whole, which I call home. Thank you.
Yeah.
So with that, I'll offer a motion to approve Suzanne's nomination to the CCCIC Board of Trustees.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, give me a second, I type slow. Okay, so with that, obviously Radhika is going to be leaving us, and I wanted to take a minute because Radhika is one of my favorite people in the region, one of the hardest working people in the region. She does a lot for this community, and I will just say from a personal standpoint, you will be missed. if you can ever read her story, it's tremendous. I love the part where she showed up in the United States with $20 in a scholarship, and has really worked hard. Everyone sees Aerial Ventures right there on the Shoreway. And obviously she's got a couple other, Aerial on Broadway. She's got a hotel. Lots of great things to say, but the value she's added to this committee, in my opinion, has been invaluable. She, with her insights to new markets tax credits, her experience in real estate deals, I think she really added a lot to the dynamic of this team. And for that, Radhika, I wanted to thank you. I have a plaque for you, but I'll give that to you when we see each other one of these days.
Yeah, I'd like to, let me just quickly, before Radhika replies to that, if I could just pile on, I think maybe with Richard and Radhika and I, we probably go back the farthest in terms of the history of this organization. And it didn't take me too long to figure out that wherever Radhika is, that's where the smart people are hanging out. That's it. We so rely on her for a lot of the intricate technical expertise, and when Radhika talks, people listen, and just so grateful to having been on this with you for the past several years, and I certainly look forward to your continued success and future ventures, but I'm very grateful for your commitment. Thanks, Radhika.
And to put a date to it, Jeff, Radhika has been with the board since 2013.
Okay. Well, yeah, so thank you all. Really appreciate a wonderful board to serve on. It's such an honor. I really enjoyed this. And I would not have requested to leave if it wasn't for NDC joining. Before there wasn't anybody who was very knowledgeable on tax credits, so I felt I should stay on. But with Tony and Suzanne and Jeff, all the bankers, and with NDC coming on to help underwrite that, I feel there won't be an issue at all, because those tax credit deals are so complex. So if the board doesn't understand, we can get really messed up. We could get misled quite a bit. So that was one of the reasons I enjoyed contributing. But now we have so many more people who have that knowledge. And with NDC helping the county, I think they're in great hands. So I feel comfortable stepping down. But I was not able to attend the meetings. Right now on Zoom, it's easy to attend, but I've been in Lorraine for the past 2 years, and it's hard to come in person. So I felt it wasn't right not to show up for the meetings. So I appreciate, but I love the board. It's fantastic. Anything on tax credits, please feel free to call me if you need me anytime. I can definitely join and help out. I think you're doing a great job, and I truly enjoyed being on this board, one of my favorite boards. Thank you very much, and I'll missing you. Plus, I represent a lot of clients doing developments, and I've not been able to bring them to the county because I don't want even appearance of conflict. So I don't take any of my clients. So now maybe I will bring, I will bring some projects to you guys. So, okay, thank you.
Well, thank you again, Radhika.
Thank you, Ted, and yeah, all of you. Yeah, bye. Yeah, maybe I can, I don't know. Just look at home. So, bye. Thank you all.
Thank you, Radhika.
Appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Bye.
And,
So with that, so the election of officers, obviously, Jeff is going to remain as our president. I had a conversation, and I should have called you prior to this, Tony, about being the vice president, which would essentially mean that Tony would sit in for Jeff when he was out. So Tony, we had a conversation last year where Tony agreed to do that, and Khalil has agreed to serve as our secretary and treasurer, and I will remain as our assistant secretary and treasurer. So I just need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Okay. And with that, the next item on the agenda is our industrial revenue bond report, which I put on every year. Last year we did none. So I will just leave that at that. Some general CCCIC business. I'm going to make a motion to approve all of these at once. So the minutes of the annual meeting from April 8th, 2020, the 2020 CCCIC financial report, the 2021 CCCIC proposed budget, the 2021 accounting services contract, and the 2021 meeting dates. I sent those all to you in an email. Would just like a motion to approve all of those.
Move to approve.
There was a second.
Yes, Brian.
Thank you, Brian and Khalil. Okay, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Paul. Paul, you're on mute. We can't see you. Well, maybe we'll come
Let me jump in for, what else is on the agenda, Sean? I just want to say a couple of things real quick.
Just program, county program and activity updates, Ted. I just put it on there in case you wanted to share any new programs or any other information that the county wanted to share with the board.
Well, what I will say, I'll use this opportunity. Just, I think as most of you know, this will be my last CCIC meeting. My last day with the county will be April 1st. I'm sorry. Going to take a job to Jeff. I tried to reach you Monday, so I owe you a call. I was hoping you got my email. Be Deputy Mayor for Economic Development in Baltimore. So both a terrific opportunity and an opportunity to go back home, be closer to family. Just want to say I've been here 5 years and some change, and this has been the most enjoyable dimension of this job. And, you know, just the opportunity to grow the economy through both attracting new companies. We've done over 36 projects together over the last 5 years that you all have evaluated and approved based on staff recommendation. And just I think of this as really being the best example of the county working at its best in terms of a public-private partnership, the time that each of you has given above and beyond the call of duty for a volunteer position, the care that you reviewed our recommendations, the enhancement of our underwriting, has just given the executive in particular comfort that, and challenging our thinking, which is what we want to ensure that, you know, we are protecting the county and the public's interest. It's just been spectacular. I really can't say enough superlatives about this group collectively. The partnership with GCP, and so you just add it all together, and and Mike Chambers, previous colleague who sat in that chair, really when we were going through the loan portfolio, I still have PTSD from that, but you know, just we didn't have any issues with the work that this group reviewed. You know, there were legacy issues, and so just my deep thanks and appreciation. You know, just a variety of projects that we've worked on together, from 6 corporate headquarters to Variety Theater, which was probably the hairiest project that we worked through. And I really want to single out Jeff on so many levels, bringing just a real balance between the banking interests from an pure underwriting standpoint with the broader civic and political considerations, the additional time he put into prior to these calls, to questions that he asked. Just Jeff, can't thank you enough for your leadership in this role, and all of you, but in particular Jeff as the chair. And so I will miss this team. I will miss working with you. I'm going to try to establish something similar in my role in Baltimore, and just keep rocking and rolling, and look forward to seeing the great work ahead. So thank you all.
Ted, very kind words. You will be missed. I will catch up with you because I'm going to introduce you to the Jeff of Baltimore. His name's Mac Tisdale. Real excellent civic man, good banker, and I think you'll find value in getting to know him. But we'll find a way here before the end of the month to get together and maybe get lunch even. It's been a pleasure working with you. I really appreciate the structure and the professionalism you brought to the role, and I wish you the best.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, Ted, it's been great working with you. All the best. You'll really be missed because you've been such a proponent of public-private partnerships. So Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Radhika. And I'll be in touch with you also, so.
Yeah,
Susan,
Ted,
all right.
you'll be greatly missed. Thank you for the leadership you brought to this region and this county. A lot of us are sad that you're leaving, but we're excited for you for the great opportunity. So thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mike.
Ted, should I be taking any offense to this? I joined the committee a little over a year ago, and now you're leaving. Is this something I said? Something I did?
I'm so glad you said yes, and Suzanne, you as well. You know, so that continuity is important, and you added a lot quickly. You know, just your very perceptive and incisive analysis and review. So thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I can
It's
say
been
that
great
about
working with
everybody. I don't want to just single people out, but everyone here has just been spectacular. So if I can ever be helpful from afar, you know, you'll have my contact info. I'll make sure we get that out.
Well, congrats on the opportunity, and best of luck. I'm sure you're going to do great, just like you did for Cleveland.
Yeah, Ted, Cleveland's loss is Baltimore's gain. It's been a pleasure working with you for this 5 years. I appreciate, especially on your efforts on equity and inclusion in the region. Really appreciate all that you've done and the partnerships that you've forged with the GCP.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, I share all those comments, Ted, and I'm not going to say goodbye because we will remain in touch, and already have set up an introduction for you in Baltimore, although you probably know a lot of people there already. But I'm happy for you and your family that you get to be closer to home, your mom, etc. So wish you all the best.
Appreciate it.
And I also just echo the comments about the way you've handled this role, the relationships you've built outside of the public sector, whether it's the President's Council or you know, our group, our Wednesday night group of compatriots. So, you know, you stepped outside of the role and made yourself part of the community in a way that's really appreciated.
Thank you.
Ted, this is Khalil. We've talked, and I wish you the best, even though I wish you weren't leaving. I want to thank you as well for your willingness to collaborate with the council, collaborate with council staff, and really make us a part of the team as well. And you've been really helpful in making that collaboration really seamless, and I think it's to the benefit of the whole region. So thank you.
Thanks.
There's an opening. I can say something, Ted. I was really actually happy to hear the news that you're getting to go back to the DC area. And I thought maybe you can catch up with Carlos there from our Leadership Cleveland class. But I was really happy for you, and best wishes to you and your family. And I know you're going to enjoy the job, and they're going to enjoy having you there.
Thanks, Susan.
Ted, this is Michelle. You already know I'm already broken up about this, so we'll continue to we'll be friends for life. Thank you, Ted.
No doubt. All right, gang. Well, thanks, Chair. Turning the keys over to Paul on the first, and so he's been a terrific wingman and co-pilot, and so you're in great hands with the team. And Bob, just so proud of you today. That's the way to end it. To nail it is with a project of this magnitude. And I was telling Matt, we were talking about this project. I'm as excited about Centennial as I am about Sherwin-Williams. I just hope that the project, kind of navigates the economy, and it's a big risk, but you got to take prudent risk, and look forward to maybe touring this before. We'll extend that to everybody before I get out of here, because I have not been inside the building. So if folks are interested in doing that, we'll set that up as well. Thanks all for the well wishes and for your partnership. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Ted.
So Jeff, I think that we can forego the other two. Maybe we can catch up with Paul another time. Paul, is that okay with you on the reporting out? Since we're at 10:30, we'll catch up on the next meeting.
Yes. Yes.
Nope. Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 You all. Welcome, Suzanne, Ted, best of luck. And good work this morning, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Take
Thanks
care.
again
Bye.
for all you do.
Bye,
Good
everybody.
day.
Thank you, everybody.